Wicked. Wicked tones, you know.
So there's like reoccurring trends in, I think it's just honestly in the TikTok world and fucking Instagram world, but like where people try to like reinvent exercises or like, but then they fail to realize that like what you're reinventing has already been invented. And you're like literally spitting in the face of like engineers and equipment design people who have like perfected like angles and like perfect ways of moving the body. So there's a lot of people that have been doing this like landmine squat. I'm not even going to demonstrate it, but it's like these people literally like put like a 5 kilogram plate on, or whatever, 25-pound plate on, and they'll put it on here, and then they'll literally like be here and they'll squat down with it. Like they'll treat this like a hack, so they have it on one shoulder. Not to mention your load is set on one side. So it's either your left or your right. So you're leaning back and you're already creating imbalances by pushing off one side more than the other. You have the load on one side of your body and you're pushing up and you're squatting down, right? And also not to mention that's probably the stupidest angle like for you to squat. Because people, I don't know whether they perceive they can get depth on that or they can like get some type of range that they can't get on like one of these like machines that's been designed. It's like, even if you go in the other room, there's like 4 generations, I'm pretty sure, of this hack squat. Of Atlantis has made 4 generations of a hack squat. So they've improved the mechanics and the fundamentals and the line and the tension and the smoothness of the machine over 4 generations of design. And you're telling me that, like, I understand if you don't have hack squat in your gym and that's just, you have to improvise and do that, like, don't even improvise with that, just do a front squat. Or do a regular barbell squat. Like learn how to fucking, or do that squat, I don't even know what it's called. I think it's a zerker squat or something where you hold the bar and you squat down like you literally just hug the bar. I'm gonna catch flack for that, fuck whatever, but along the lines of that being stupid as shit too. But like, if you have to pick your poison, at least pick something where the load is distributed like evenly over the body and you're creating like a line of, like a solid foundation of tension that you're either underneath coming up through, right? So if I'm literally wanted to make a video of like that one dude on the internet who shows like people doing like crazy difficult stuff and then he does it like in one, he just like does it like really easy and like puts his hands up, like what the fuck? It's literally like what this is. It's like, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, put his face like all over this video. But it's like you're creating this leaning back motion, so you're creating like this angle to drop down. So if it's the same thing as here, if I'm holding a bar here, you're trying to mimic this positioning, and this is your end position holding that bar. Well, look where we are. We're on a fucking hack squat that does that. So why would I put a barbell on my fucking back that's not on a fixed track? If I lose balance or flip to one side or the other with that fucking bar on my one shoulder, not only am I going to twinge to that side or possibly lose balance and fall because I'm leaning back on a bar that's unstable. It's not on a fixed track. Whereas like I'm on a hack squat, I can't fall out of this hack squat. And I'm on a fixed track, so I can only push on one line. So my ability to hurt myself is limited. Because we're put on a safe path. We're in a machine. We can lock this thing out when we're done. I don't have to, like, if I'm holding this bar and I'm going down, then I have to, when I'm done, flip the bar off, drop the bar. Or like, God forbid it gets too heavy and I bail. Where am I bailing? Because if this gets too heavy and I go down and I can't handle it anymore, I get stuck at the bottom, it'll just clank eventually. Yeah, I'll be stuck here, but hopefully I'll have a spotter, or I can get it up to about here and then I can clank. Oh. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm home free. I'm not gonna hurt myself. So it's like, I don't understand, like, just because you can think of different ways to do things doesn't mean that they're good. Because I can think of like another way to like bench press where I could use like I could take like 2 uneven bars, uneven loaded, and I could ping them down and hold them, or the bars at different angles, and I'm pushing up like this. But it's like, why would I when we've perfected that already? Like, don't spit in the face of like the people at Atlantis and the people at like these Precor and Panada. Don't spit in the face of their designers and be like, oh man, like, what do you need that for? We got this barbell we can hook into it. And the best part about it is those landmine squats that people are doing, they're not even putting the bar in the holder like I did. They're literally putting the bar in the corner of a wall where 2 corners meet. And they're jamming the bar in there. So at least that one, the bar can't slide anywhere. It's stuck in a locked position right at the bottom. The other one's like, if you wobble one thing, that bar flips up, bang, you're down on the ground. You're fucking screaming and you're wondering, oh, I hurt myself. How did I do that? It's like, guys, like, wake the fuck up, man. It's like, just because you can think of like random shit to do doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better. And it doesn't make it interesting or like exciting. Like, you trainers that get your fucking clients to do that when you're in the middle of a gym with all this equipment and you have them doing that asinine shit, like possibly potentially hurting themselves and fucking getting you in shit, because if your client hurts yourself doing something stupid like that, they should come after you personally and sue you. Not even the gym. Like, because you put them at risk, right? Like, there's very limited risk here. There's always risk to hurt yourself on any machine. Just something could happen. Maybe you have an injury that's just waiting to go. It just needs the right tension, the right power, the right push. But it's like you're literally putting that person in harm's way and telling them like, oh, don't trust me. I saw this on TikTok last night. It's gotta work. Like, because if you yourself try that and don't realize that that's fucking stupid, and then think to yourself, this is a good idea. I should implement this in the people that pay me to train them. Like, you are an idiot. Like, I'm like spitting up my breakfast talking about that. It's like all these, like talking about this landmine squatting and these various other exercises that people like somehow invent and think are cool, because like it's this whole wave of like trainers now are like teaching people functional training. But it's like, as far as I'm concerned, like functional training correlates to like you performing an action, like whether it's through sport, like you play a sport, that movement correlates or translates into like power on the field, or like power through like your stroke of your like your shot, like your tennis shot, or your shooting through hockey. Like, it correlates a one-to-one, like we're generating more explosive power to be better at this explosive sport that has like explosive movements in it, right? So it's like, I understand there's correlations between like different things, like a lot of the stuff you're building endurance, like guys doing battle ropes, like you're building up endurance for sports like boxing, things like that, where there's like heavy endurance. You have to work for long periods of time and you have to like work on your endurance for that sport, right? But it's like, if you're gonna bring that aspect of training into like, I don't know why you would bring it into bodybuilding. There's literally no, like, functional training in bodybuilding is literally like, can I pick up this bar and can I put it up there and load it? And then can I perform the movement, right? Can I walk over there to the machine? Yeah, I can. Can I carry a 45-pound plate across the room, put it on a machine? That's functional training for bodybuilding, because that's everything outside the actual doing, like performing of the exercise, okay? But it's like these guys who are like trying to like, it's almost like these trainers nowadays, they think they have to overstimulate their clients. So if you have like a regular person, let's say regular person, like someone who's not a competitive bodybuilder, they're just in the gym, they want to look better, they want to lose weight, they want to feel good. And they're like, oh, well, I'll just get that person moving like more than they normally do, which is a good idea. And I'm going to get them like performing these motions that are like so foreign to them that they create like them, they're like burning calories. They're going to be tired. Like, let's get this average Joe to pick up this battle rope and go crazy on the battle rope. Or like, let's have them like do a plank and then like do high fives to the person in front of them. It's like, that's difficult for anyone that doesn't do that all the time. So if I don't do that movement all the time, it's going to be very difficult to perform because I've never done it before. And even if I've done it 15 times, I still haven't done it that much, so it's still difficult. So don't perceive a difficult movement to be a beneficial movement just because it's difficult. And it's like you're building core strength and we're doing all this like nonsense of like core strength and core strength. There's super specific sports that require massive amounts of core strength. You just walking around every day and living your life and being an average person who likes to go to the gym, you don't need it. Like, let's be real. You really don't need it, because if your core strength is good enough to keep your posture and you're walking around every day, I'm engaged in my core right now. If I wasn't engaged in my core right now, I wouldn't be standing talking to this. I'd be like, Laura, let's go over here and talk about this. I can't keep myself upright. I don't have any core strength. It's like, to think that you need this like crazy core strength to like do any type of lift or like this, like, you understand, like if you're doing a lift, if I'm standing here holding a barbell and standing up tall, my core is engaged. And if I'm moving through the weight and I'm curling it, to keep my chest up, physically keep my chest up, requires engagement of my core. Or I'd be like this. I'd just be like this all the time. I'd be a hunchback. I'd have a fucking hump in my back 4 inches tall. And I'd just be walking around like, man, I never work my abs. They just fucking don't work. It's like every exercise you guys do in here, whether it's a leg press, a shoulder press, a fucking skull crusher, is core engagement. It's all engaged. Just because you're not flexing your abs, and I'm not going like on my bicep curl going, like squeezing my abs, flexing my abs. It's like, you don't need to. Your core is a dynamic, like shifting thing that moves and bends and twists and does all these different movements, like 360-degree torso turn. I can like control my body through my core. I have a basic ability to do so. So like you people that are like overemphasizing this core work, and then these people do it and they're like, man, it was so hard. Like I was doing a plank and then I had to like drag this over here, and then I had to like crawl over here, and I had to drag this over here. That's fucking hard for anybody, unless you're doing that shit all the time. And if you're doing that shit all the time and you're really good at it, congratulations, you're just really good at that. Because that's all that correlates to, is being really good at that movement, which is super unnecessary in everyday life. I'm never going to be at the point where I'm like, what am I, over hot lava? And I'm like, oh, thank God I did that core fucking strength, because now I can hold myself over it. Oh, I can grab something from over there and pull it. Oh, good. I can, like, you know what I mean? When are you going to need that? So your average person doing this stuff, like, trainers get out of the mindset that, like, because you're making something difficult for someone, that it's beneficial for them. It's not. And odds are people, regular people or like average people doing those movements are going to have problems, and they're going to get injured from it. They're going to have pulls, they're going to tweak stuff, they're going to overcompensate with certain muscles, lock off certain muscles because those muscles aren't dominant. They're going to stick to their dominant muscle. They're going to overdevelop areas and they're going to underdevelop areas because they're not used to this. Like, I don't know what to stabilize. I'm just going to go where I'm strong. I'm going to lock my neck in place in my traps, and I'm just going to hold myself there. And nothing's working on my core, right? So it's like, there's a reason why this machine and this gym and a lot of other gyms, there's these massive array of equipment. Like, take advantage of that, learn how to use these pieces of equipment, because there's some functional trainers out there who don't even have the slightest clue how to set up on a machine to do like a tricep press down, or on a cable. Or like, they don't, like, I've never used that machine. What's it for? Excuse me? What's it fucking for? It's for your legs, man. Like, what is it for? Like, if you don't know, if you're a trainer in the gym and you can't walk around and at least identify what each machine is for, get the fuck out of the gym, man. Go back to whatever you were doing before. Like, you don't need to be here. If you can't look at a squat rack and think of about 25 different things I could do in that squat rack, exercise-wise, like set it up for bench, set it up for like shoulder press, let's set it up for squat, let's bent over rows. We could do barbell curls out of there. There's a million things we could do out of this one squat rack, right? And if you can't look at this leg press and say, if someone walks by this leg press, or like that leg press over there, the Atlantis, where it's kind of angled, it's not like a true leg press, it's kind of like an over leg press. If you don't know what that's for, that's wild, man. Or if you can't walk by like some of these obscure machines, like this these two Atlantis like tricep press downs over here. Like if we go over here. So to like an average, to like a layperson who doesn't come to the gym, this might seem like, you look at this and like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Are these pull machines? Am I like curling? What am I doing? But obviously they're tricep machines, right? But it's like, if you're a trainer in a gym and you have no concept of what these do or how they're different based on the angle of the seat, this is more erect, this is more of like an up above head press, this is more of a press down. We're not pushing up, we're pushing down. As you can see, the angle of the line of the cable, and that angle of that cable is going up to the ceiling. That's where it's supposed to go. If you don't know what that's doing, and you think that like getting your client to do jumping jacks and touch their toes, like try this stuff. Let's help them put on muscle. Let's help them develop areas of their body that are maybe lacking. And then maybe they'll be better at that stuff that you're making them do, because they have an awareness like, oh, I know how to lock on my triceps now, because I actually engage them using a machine that costs $6,000, $8,000 that's sitting in this machine that's sitting in this gym for a reason, because it works, right? So it's just like people like trying to like, from the landmine squat bullshit to this and that. Like if you're doing a landmine squat as a trainer and you're unaware that it's the exact same thing as a hack squat, again, time to go back to the drawing board, because like we've moved past that, man. Hack squat has been around for fucking decades. We know it works. We know the angles. There's a fucking 80 different variations and different machines, different companies that make it. They figured that out. You didn't figure out anything new by doing the caveman hack squat of like leaning back on the bar and holding. How much possible load could you get there? Because let's not forget, like even if you put 300 pounds on it, your ass has to pick it up to put it on your back. Hack squat, I load the plate, I stand up in the things, I push the clips, it's on me. Why would I want to do that? It's just like a complete craziness.